Okay, it's a short video just to try and explain some ideas about assessing students over several years. So we're starting thinking with students in year 9, set them a test which is easy compared to their final exam. It's easy compared to the GCSE exam or whatever equivalent you're doing at the end. Okay, you get some results and they should fit a normal distribution. If your results don't fit a normal distribution, you've probably not got a very good test. So you'd have to rewrite that test, reset it, whatever. Okay, but you should get a reasonable spread, and you might decide to define how much you want the standard deviations to be either side, etc. Okay, so once you've done that, you can then hopefully the students progress. You test the same group of students a year later. This time the test is a little bit harder, contains more of the information you've taught that year, and is more representative of the final test. And hopefully, if things are going well, students are progressing, they're getting more adept. They'd have maxed out this test, but they need a harder test in order to be able to go on to the next level, so they're getting the same again, but this time you get another normal distribution curve, and again you set them a test in the end final year 11. This could either be the GCSE or it could be one just prior to the GCSE, and it should look very much like the kind of assessment you're preparing them for. Okay, and again you should get a normal distribution curve. And if you scale it right, you should be going up a jump by, for the median of the cohort, by maybe, in this example, we're going up by 1 grade each year. So an average student might be on a grade 3 in year 9, you go up to a grade 10 in year 10, so a grade 4 in year 10, a grade 11, a grade 5 in year 11. Okay, so let's have a look at what happens to our average student from a different perspective. We've just taken the 3 normal distribution curves and stacked them on top of each other, and as you can see, for our normal student or our average student, they go from their grade 3 to a grade 4 to a grade 5. Okay. Now, what's the purpose of doing this? Right, we do the assessments to try and find students that are underperforming significantly or overperforming significantly, maybe to help us identify good practice, etc. So let's have a look at what happens to our underdog. So if our underdog comes in weak or at the bottom of the cohort, and they are able to skip up to this part of the cohort, you can see they've gone from a 1 to a 3. You've added +2 in 1 year. Okay, so you've definitely made progress. If they'd have gone straight down, they'd have still made progress, right? But here they've added, and they've made extra progress. Okay, and they continue down, and so we can say with this person, we've made good progress. We've managed to raise their game. They've managed to move up the cohort, which is what we're looking for. And it was able, this wasn't someone we should really have been worrying about. This is someone who's coping well. Okay, possibly they were undervalued prior, but that's another story. Okay, now let's think about a student that needs help. Okay, they don't look like a student that needs help. They're at the top of the class, high-end achiever. Okay, and now they've dropped from a 5 to a 5. They've not dropped numerically, but they should have made 1 level progress, and they haven't. So this is now on our target list, someone to look out for. And if we don't do that and they drop to here on 4 by the end, then we've truly failed. Okay, but we can see it really because they've shifted from the top percentiles down to here. Okay, this person obviously started out very high. Now it wouldn't matter where the student was to start with. For instance, if our student who just made the expected progress was on number 2 to start with, then from this perspective, looking at them stacked, they just move straight down. Okay, for our underdog, they can still make the same progress if they start in the middle, and they can still jump up by 2 and carry on. And similarly, our student who's not making the progress that we want them to also will still stand out, even if they start in the middle. If they drop, they've gone from 3 to 3 again. They haven't gone up a grade, so this is somebody we would target for intervention. Okay, and maybe this is somebody we'd look at to see what strategies are working and what are useful. And this way we stay focused on the teaching and the learning and the useful things. Okay, so now the obvious potential criticism is, well, what if the tests give you a nice spread, so they're testing something and testing it well, but they're not testing what's being tested for. So for instance, your teacher mistakenly taught Spanish instead of French. Okay, so that's where you need to start doing a bit of statistical comparison. So you would plot the results of your students on one axis of a graph on the tests that you've set. So you might get the Year 9 test results, and you'd get the Year 9 test results in one column for your students, and you'd put the exam results in another column, say they've tested in Year 11, in the other column, and then you would plot these as coordinates on a graph. And if you get a perfectly straight line, it means that what was in that Year 9 test ties up perfectly with what's in that Year 11 test. Okay, so it's basically just checking the correlation. If you get a 1 or 0.8 correlation, you're doing pretty good. So you can then historically go back and check. Obviously, the first time you do it, you need to be really carefully checking that the content of these tests is stretching, it's got the right material in it, etc., etc. But you can confirm that at a later date by just doing the correlation coefficient check, and then you can support why you're using the particular test that you are, and prove it historically. Okay, I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching.